And so my goal is to create pathways to employment for people returning home from the criminal justice system. And we focus on creating pathways to employment that offer living wages, career advancement, and offer people a second chance, and for some people a first chance at having a stable life. So I'm really happy that you all were able to make it today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule. And I'm hoping that we can create some good partnerships here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patty. Next on here. I guess, Brianna, you're next on my list. All the partners are in a row here.
Thanks, Megan. So as she mentions, my name is Bree Dow. I'm a business development manager for sector at Chrysalis. I've been at Chrysalis, which is a nonprofit focused on supporting the community-defined employment. I've been there for about 6 years in 3 different roles. So I've worked with primarily our clients who have been justice impacted. I would say probably about 60 to 65% of our clients have been justice impacted in some capacity. So my professional experience, I've really found that it can be really tough for our clients trying to find employment in long-term careers to support themselves and, their families and be a productive member of society. It's been really challenging. So anytime working with employers who are open to working with the reentry population is really exciting. And our clients are always so grateful for the chance if they are, offered employment. So here to support our clients, excited to be here chatting with you all.
Thanks, Bree. Who's over here? Julio, are you on?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Julio Arellano. I'm Director of Intensive Management at VA Care. I've been working with the Department of ODR and as well with DHS since about 3 years ago with the whole person care program. We work with also, the work source down the street. They have a reentry program, and that's what we usually primarily work with to hire justice involved staff. And again, I'm here to give my take on my experience and my support to the community.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Christina, are you on?
Yes. Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Christina Figueroa Chan. I'm the HR manager for Asian Pacific Healthcare Venture. I've had some professional experience with doing background checks. That's what we do. And sometimes we have, I think the only report I've received so far is like a DUI. So I'd like to know more and get more information. And so yeah, that's me. Good morning, everybody.
Perfect. Well, welcome. Well, you're in the right spot with the right people. So hopefully we can get you connected to some more of that information. Carolyn?
Hi. I also have experience participating in the Fair Chance Initiative and with DUIs as well, and determining whether a match with a criminal background would prevent someone from being effective at their position or not. And so familiar with that, but at the same level, I'm not an expert for sure.
Well, we appreciate that. And that's why we're glad you're here, right?
Thank you.
Perfect. Marlon?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Megan. Yeah, so my name is Marlon Mendoza. I'm one of the lead community health workers, case managers for the RCMS MWRS reentry program here at VA Care in East LA. And yes, I've encountered many, of our justice involved clients that, that need employment and they've just been struggling to obtain employment because of their criminal background, right? So obviously, what we mentioned earlier, we use our WorkSource reentry program to refer our clients to seek their job opportunities. And yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Who else here popped in? Sarah?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm the programs assistant here at the RISE department. We're based at the St. John's Community Health Center. And in terms of my experience working in reentry, that started when I was working in homeless services, and I saw firsthand how people with a history of incarceration were having difficulties accessing housing and employment.
Welcome. You guys will be hearing from both of these gentlemen a little bit later, but I'll have them go ahead and introduce themselves. Henry, you want to introduce yourself?
I certainly will. Hello, everyone. My name is Henry Bratton. I am a program manager for the Office of Diversion and Reentry, and I'd like to give a shout out to Chrysalis. I went to Chrysalis 13 years ago, and so another person that I see on here is Jack Morris. I haven't had an opportunity to see him in over 2 years because of COVID. You know, we've been in a lot of groups and meetings together as well. I'll be talking later on.
We'll segue to Jack.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and see some old faces again. It's been a while. As Henry stated, things have changed in the last couple of years. I work at St. John's Community Health. We recently had a name change. It was St. John's Well Child and Family Center. It recently changed to Community Health. People couldn't pronounce the first definition of it, and it took 20 minutes to introduce it. In that capacity, I've changed positions 3 times. I was a community health worker. I was a care coordinator, and now I'm a housing navigator, and my position is about to change again. We work with those impacted with the justice system. We provide them anything and everything they need. If we don't have it here at St. John's, we'll go out into the community. And it's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to learning as much as I can. And to put a perspective on it, I've done 40 years in prison. I've done more than 30 years in solitary confinement. I spent my whole life in jail. So I have, I'm a subject matter expert. Thank you.
So appreciate you being here, Jack. And I look forward to you sharing a little bit more about the program and obviously your story. So glad you're here. And it looks like somebody else just came in. Danielle, you'd share us with your title, organization, and then if you have any personal or professional experience with people who have been arrested or convicted of crime.
Hi, I'm Danielle Tibbs. I'm with Kaiser Permanente Human Resources. Been in the industry for over 20 some odd years. And in the past and the Washington, D.C. area, I have participated in programs that were tailored towards trying to rehabilitate individuals that have been incarcerated in the past and try to get them acclimated back into the work environment. So, and I did that on a volunteering basis and not necessarily through Kaiser. So, you know, from that standpoint, I definitely, you know, do have, you know, plenty of experience dealing with individuals with, you know, arrest records and, you know, and then convicted of crimes and things of that nature. So that's basically the gist of, you know, who I am and a little bit about my experience.
Great, thank you. We're glad you can make it. And then I realized I introduced myself, but I didn't necessarily talk about my connection or anything either. And so I've actually been in this field for close to 20 years. I originally came from corporate and jumped over to nonprofit. And in that nonprofit, we were working with young adults who had various barriers to success, which included gang involvement, criminal convictions, that sort of stuff. And I oversaw our employment and education department. And so I got very passionate very quickly about kind of becoming an advocate for getting people linked up with employment. And fast forward, that's actually what kind of helped me open my consulting company. We specialize in workforce development and reentry. I also run a nonprofit organization, so I still do have direct connection to individuals and helping get them linked up with employment. And that's why we were really excited about this project, working with ODR and with the sector program. And so Patty will tell you guys a little bit more about that here in a second. But essentially, what we were contracted to do was kind of do a research study of the healthcare industry to learn about kind of the hiring needs, learn about potential barriers that people may have, and then create these partnerships with these sector partners and with the Office of Diversion and Reentry to hopefully get some people linked up with your jobs. So some of you guys have already spoken to, or my team has spoken to in phase 1, and we look forward to continuing to connect with you guys. So with that, I will turn it over. I can click over my screen here to what the sector program is. So I'll have Patty tell you a little bit more about that, and then Brianna will tell you guys a little bit more about what the sector partners do. So Patty?
Yeah, hi everybody. I kind of went over it a little bit. So the sector program is focused on creating pathways to employment for system impacted individuals. We find that through many studies, if a person is offered some support upon their return home, there's many more success stories that occur. So we support 6 nonprofit organizations at this time, Chrysalis being the largest, and the largest has the largest participants. And we try to offer that warm welcome home and training programs and employers so that they can get on this path to a stable life that offers career advancement, a living wage, and able to have a second chance. And like I said before, oftentimes a first chance. Many people come from varying backgrounds, but some of them have experienced extreme poverty, homelessness, and then incarceration. So homelessness and incarceration really go hand in hand. So I'm just like, once again, so happy you're here, and I'm looking forward to communicating more with you. I know we're pressed on time. So if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out. I put up my contact information, and I look forward to, establishing these long-term relationships. That's what this whole program is really about. So thank you, and I'll pass it over to Bree.
Patty?
Thanks, Patty. So again, Chrysalis is a nonprofit who basically we focus on providing support to our clients. In the context of the sector program, again, as Patty mentions, we are funded through ODR to provide supportive services to our clients who are in the sector program. I believe our goal this year is to serve up to 300 sector participants. And again, every single one of those clients has experience or has barriers to their experience to employment. So they've been just as impacted, as well as maybe mental health challenge or a substance misuse challenge in their background. And it can be really difficult for those clients to find employment in these high growth sectors. A few of them on screen here, we've been trying to support our clients getting into construction, advanced manufacturing, healthcare, social assistance, green jobs, just a few of them to mention. So what we do is we're able to provide resources and support to get our clients into specific training. So they get specialized certifications, potentially degrees, and they're able to be trained in these specific high growth sectors. Once they have the certifications and, potentially also being paid in the meanwhile, Chrysalis has 4 different transitional businesses where if someone is looking for full-time employment, but maybe, struggling to find that fit, they're able to work with us part-time until they're able to find that full-time role. So potentially they're working with us, they're going through trainings with us, and then eventually once they have those certifications, maybe some more experience, they're landing a role in that specific sector or industry. And we really want to make sure that we're offering these career pathways to these individuals because we want roles that are family sustaining wages, that have benefits, that are really going to benefit them in the long run. So a lot of the goals you can see, here are not just, to be able to find them a role, but really to improve their overall well-being, making sure that they're increasing their earnings. Chrysalis, our employment programs are part-time transitional roles. We're paying a little bit above minimum wage, but our goal for the sector program is making sure that our clients are landing roles that are paying, well above minimum. Our goal is between, I think it's like $19 to $25 an hour right now is the goal, specifically for our specific nonprofit. If you have any questions, again, my contact information is also in the chat. Feel free to reach out with any questions.
Great, thanks, Bree. And so all that, so why are we here today? So first of all, I think we're all kind of familiar with the Great Resignation, as we're calling it nowadays. I think this, especially in healthcare, you guys are probably pretty familiar with this. So this is where employees have started vacating their jobs in mass, starting at the beginning of last year. At first, I think there was a lot of different, thoughts and reasonings behind this, whether it was like, well, people are staying home to get paid unemployment, right? Or it was fears of COVID. However, we're really starting to find that more people are really starting to rethink their career pathways and what sort of careers they want to get into, their work conditions. So I don't necessarily really want to go to an office anymore. I want to work remotely. I kind of like staying home. And then also their long-term goals. And so all of this has really created employees leaving their jobs. shifts or really kind of hopping around jobs, job to job, which is being challenging for employers, right? And we're also discovering kind of the younger group of employees. They're really looking to seek a better work-life balance, which I know some of us can probably learn from that too. But ultimately what this has resulted in is big gaps in employment. And I know a lot of industries have seen this, especially in hospitality, tourism, and then healthcare. I'm sure as you guys all working in healthcare have seen, it has been one of the hardest hit industries. So there has been an estimated 20% of the workforce has left the healthcare industry, with 30% of nurses. And so I think we already know within healthcare that we were already facing a shortage of individuals in the healthcare industry with the aging populations. And then now getting hit with this and with just the pandemic, burnout, just the challenges really that everyone's gone through the past few years, this has really been a big challenge for healthcare to recruit people. And in phase one of this project, my team had done outreach to employers within healthcare, really just to learn about where, what are you guys' challenges? What are you guys trying to hire for? What does that look like? And kind of across the board from small to large, organizations, we were hearing about all the different kind of openings they have, how people are short-staffed, these sort of challenges, right? And so what we're here today is try to help, hopefully give you some ideas and some connections to help you guys create some more pipelines and pathways, for employees in your places. And so I was going to turn to you guys. And so for the healthcare providers in the room, I was going to ask you guys, like, maybe what are some of the methods that you guys have been using to find candidates so that are out there? So for those of you guys that are hiring, what sort of methods have you guys been using? Anybody?
Oh, this is Julio from Reentry. Yeah, again, hi everyone. But I think for us, it's just been, you're right. We have felt it throughout the agency. I think that the Great Resignation has affected us. I think that the other thing as well was, I feel like my team has doubled up in the last
Really?
year too. Yeah, at the beginning of 2020, I had about, I want to say 6 staff. I'm about 23 now, right? I'm
Wow.
somewhere around 23, but it also changed because of our growth with not just the whole person care program, but I think with the ECM and / health homes program as well, because it has the ability to, the foundation of those programs are based on staffing, right? The capacity is based on the case managers. And with that, with the patient population that we had, it has really grown. Right now, I'm currently in a little bit of a freeze. I got to stable some stuff out, but it hasn't really, I don't want to say affected it. I think it's been able to give some leeway towards hiring individuals with have past histories, and I think it's relatable to the patient. So it has been a better experience in that way. I do think that with the partnerships, we have been able to get additional staffing with workforce partnerships. I guess from my experience, I would say that I know that when I hire Justice Evolve or Justice Care staff, I know that they're not coming with the highest experience. And I think that, that's part of the transition. It's part of the trainings that we go through. We know that we do about, like, for me, it's somewhere between 3 to 6 months. I still feel like I'm still working with them at certain levels. There's certain boundaries that we have to work on and stuff like that. But overall, I'm trying to think of how many staff we have that are just involved. I want to say about half of my staff that is currently there are just involved, and I do a good mix between them and MAs and benefit counselors. There's a good couple of mix that I know have came from different divisions and different experiences, and I think that by osmosis they've absorbed how to be better case managers. I think one of the ladies that I have right now, she's one of the most compliance, has the most compliance in her caseload. And I know she's justice involved, has a lot of experience, a lot of setbacks, but still has really triumphed in the agency. So I think there are a lot of resignations. I think all around my team, I probably would say my department has been fortunate to grow. And I think it's also because of the capacity, because employers have to look at that as that's how you generate business. It's based on the capacity on the people. Sorry about that. I hope it wasn't me. It was letting me know to shut up and get back in line. I got it. Okay.
No, this is great info. Julio, I was going to say, this is great. You're actually keying into a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. Also, and so I wanted to see in the chat too, Christina, it looks like you're using agencies to fill your positions. How has that been? You said it's pricey, but has it been working or not working? Are you finding that you're getting good candidates from that?
I would say 50-50. There's, recruitment is always hard, and you never know. So even if you're talking about quality wise, I wouldn't say for the price that it's 100% guaranteed to be a great quality. We have had experience that they're actually not. So yeah, I would say 50-50. For me, it helps really to fill the position. They do provide us with candidates, and we are able to fill positions, even though we are on a constant recruitment pattern. But yeah, like I said, we have no choice. So that's how we're coping with this thing.
Yeah, it's challenging. And I can actually speak to that too. So as I was saying, when I came into nonprofit, prior to me working in nonprofit, I actually worked for a staffing agency. And so well aware on the other end of kind of the placement. And I know some of our challenges working from an agency standpoint was also that like we didn't know our clients, right? Like they came in, you meet with them, you learn about their background, you do reference checks, and then you place them, but we don't necessarily have that long-term relationship with them. And so that was one of the benefits when I was working in nonprofit, was that we had worked with our candidates for a period of time. So the ones in my program, we worked with for up to 20 weeks. So we really got to know their, their reliability. Did they show up on time? Were they participating? What were their strengths and weaknesses? So when we put them out to employers, right, we were really able to match them up with the needs, and we could really vouch for them. I could really say like, hey, Susie, needs a little bit more attention in this area, but she's really great in this, that sort of stuff. So it's definitely challenging. So Christina, I can only imagine on your end trying to go through that as well. So, and then Carolyn, it looks like you're posting on job boards, job fairs, using agencies. How's that working out for you guys? If you don't mind sharing.
Sorry, I had muted myself. And it's challenging. We are looking for medical assistants aren't as hard to find as RNs, or RNs that are looking for unbelievable salaries and that we can't accommodate. And also LVNs are looking for a lot. And we're a nonprofit, federally qualified health center, and we have an equity pay policy, so we cannot meet the requests, some of these salary requests for people that may not even be as qualified as we want them to be.
And we heard that during phase 1 too, talking with employers. That was one of the #1 challenges also, was the pay competition. So they were saying, people are leaving they're pretty much bouncing, right, job to job for higher paying jobs. And so a lot of healthcare employers were like, we just can't match that, and there was a few that were like union based or other based. And again, they don't necessarily have that flexibility just to pay, you know, exorbitant amounts of money. So, I mean, I know that's going to be an ongoing challenge, not just in healthcare, I think across the board, but especially, you know, that is something that's been a challenge. And Danielle, it looks like higher sign-on bonuses. Has that been working for you guys? Having a dedicated sourcing team? What has that been looking like for Kaiser?
You know, it's been, you know, interesting and challenging. You know, we, for my roles, I hire for, you know, I hire doctors and I hire, you know, diagnostic imaging sonographers across the board. And, you know, I've never seen where we're offering like a $50,000 sign-on bonus, you know, to some of our providers. And I was just floored when they agreed to do that, because Kaiser is a union environment. And so everything has red tape and has to go through all these, you know, approvals. And, you know, when things are really desperate, when, you know, we're throwing that kind of money out there. And it's been across the board for the majority of my positions where we are, I mean, it's definitely, you know, helping us to attract more applicants. And as the individual mentioned before, it's not necessarily guaranteed a quality hire, because a lot of times their motivation is, you know, they want the sign-on bonus, but the way that, you know, we try to set it up to protect ourselves so that they just can't, you know, they won't be a flight risk so quickly, you know, to protect ourselves. So, I mean, I've seen in some instances where it has worked, and it's a little slow moving because hiring managers are a bit more cautious because of the fact that, you know, we're throwing this money out there and we want to get the best hire, and we want to make sure that their motives are, you know, in the right place, of course. So on one hand, I've seen where it has worked. On the other hand, you know, it still hasn't made a difference because of the fact that the market is just so challenging across the board. And I work in different market regions, from Southern Cal to the Mid-Atlantic to Georgia, and just seeing how all of the market regions have been affected across the board. And, you know, and not to Kaiser's horn or anything of that nature, but we're just so used to being the it girl in the industry. And when the it girl is no longer popular, we're having to question, like, hey, are we losing our value here? But it's not just that, it's just the industry as a whole, and it's just super, super challenging. And they brought on a team of sourcers, you know, to primarily focus on those hard to fill positions. But depending on the position itself, and if that market, if the region is tapped, you know, what can you do? You know, and that's a lot of the challenges that I have, is that my market is tapped, you know, and so it's like we're starting to having to recruit outside of the market region. And you know, when you are competing with other regions and trying to get someone to come in and swoon them, it's just super, super hard. And I've been in the industry for over 20 some odd years, and I can't really say that I've seen the market look like this in quite some time, where it's a candidate driven market. And as an employer, we like it to be an employer driven market. We like to be in control, but, you know, it's challenging because we're even having to reassess our pay scales, you know, because we want to make sure that we are marketable, and that, you know, we don't get too many decline offers because of the fact that, oh, well, you know, all these other competitors have raised their, you know, their rates. And so now we're having to reevaluate that. So we're just looking at things from a different perspective right now, and just doing whatever we can to, you know, be successful in getting quality hires.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. And you kind of summed up, like I said, I think what we heard from all the employers we spoke to, you know, at different levels within the phase one, it was just really hearing kind of what are those challenges, right? And across the board, it sounds like, I mean, it definitely is. It's an employee market at this point, right? So people are kind of driving the wages, they're drawing, you know, the need. And so employers are really trying to look at where can we tap into to get employees, right? Or how can we stay competitive? And so no, so I appreciate you guys all sharing that. And hopefully today we can give you guys some more connections and some more information on some of that, or at least create relationships to continue some of these conversations. So kind of connecting in. So we're going to talk about some what is fair chance hiring today in a nutshell. So here's some of the benefits that we'll go over. So what is fair chance hiring? It sounds like through introductions, quite a few of you guys, have some sort of experience in this or touch with it. But fair chance hiring as an initiative, if you will, it's been around for about a decade, but it's really gained momentum in the last few years, especially for employers wanting to give people a fair chance at re-entering society after incarceration. So they're seeing that there's this great number of people that are coming home after incarceration and really just need that chance so that way that they're able to succeed. So employers are seeing that and they're wanting to, give them a chance. It's also improving equality and diversity initiatives. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. Obviously the Great Resignation is helping some of that. I know in my experience, again, I've been placing candidates for close to 20 years. And I can honestly say in the last year or so, I've been getting calls from a lot of employers who were like, we've never hired from this population before. However, we don't know, we're stuck. We need employees. And so they've been more open-minded to this. But essentially fair chance hiring just gives people a chance to present themselves. So whether it's delaying asking about their criminal history. So right now in California, we do have ban the box, right? So we did take that off of the application. So that way it doesn't screen people out from the get-go. It gives them a chance to actually come in and present, tell you about their skills, show who they are as a person, and then give you guys a decision, right? To see if that's going to be a fit for your place of employment. And so since 2009, 37 states and over 150 counties and cities have adopted some sort of fair chance hiring policy. So this has been gaining momentum, and more cities, counties, and states are signing onto it and understanding the importance of it. And so just a couple stats here, by prohibiting conviction history inquiries on the job applications, 700,000 more people will have a fair chance of seeking employment. So just by taking that box off of the application, over 700,000 more people have an opportunity to get a job and help support themselves and their families. And then another kind of interesting stat too is the other reason why it's important to take that box off is so that way we're not unfairly screening out people also. So I don't know if you guys know, but 50 to 80% of criminal records have inaccuracies on them. So that is a huge number. So if you were to initially just to screen people out or run a background check right away and screen somebody out with actually talking to them, you could be potentially screening out people that have some sort of inaccuracy on their background. So whether that is, maybe it's not their history, maybe it was dismissed, any other type of reason. But again, there's a lot of inaccuracies on it. So some of the benefits of it. So better job retention. So employers find that actually people with criminal convictions have a higher retention rate than those without a conviction history. So a lot of this reason is that these people are grateful for a job, right? They're coming out of incarceration and they are excited, they're ready to work. They've gotten a lot of no's. So once they do get a job, they tend to stay there longer, right? Because they know the importance of it. And Johns Hopkins is a big employer within healthcare, and there's a lot of studies out there that they've put out on the importance of this and how their employees do tend to stay with them longer. Another benefit is diversity and inclusion. So as I just shared, 700,000 people re-enter from incarceration every year. This disproportionately is people of color. Most of those people have been charged with nonviolent crimes. However, they have also served longer sentences on average, which means that they may have obviously bigger gaps in their employment. They may have less like hard skills that they have, but these are people who are ready to work, are trainable, are excited to work, and they just need to be given a chance. So a lot of this can fit in with your DEI policies as well when you do consider fair chance hiring. And it improves lives. So the people that are actually coming out, it helps reduce recidivism. So having a job and having a place that you're proud to go to and you're earning money actually helps you drastically, your chances of reducing crime go down drastically. Because again, people, they want to support themselves. They want to support their families. It gives them hope. All the no's that they hear from employers start chipping away at that hope, right? So once somebody does get a chance, that's again, this ties into them being more, lose my words here, but more apt to stay at a job, because again, they're excited for that chance and they want to be there, able to work. The talent pool. So 1 in 3 people out there are system impacted. So this is nationwide. 1 in 3 people have some sort of criminal justice involvement, and that is a large number of people. So if we were screening those people out, just think of all the talent that we're losing out on. So whether that's like hard skills that people have and experience, their natural born talents, you know, anything that they have with them, that's a lot of people that we're potentially not considering for our jobs. And then with these stats, so 82% of companies believe that talent is overlooked when we are not doing fair chance hiring or not considering these populations. And 74% of employers agree that fair chance policies increase talent pool. And so an interesting stat I had on that, actually, let me see where I had it here. I forget, so I don't have the exact number in front of me, but they there was a study in 2021 that they did across the board for employees and employers, and it was close to 50% of employees said that they were more apt to, and this is people without criminal convictions, they were more apt to work for an employer that took a stance on social justice initiatives such as fair chance hiring. So not only does this attract people who have skills from, you know, the formerly incarcerated population, but it also attracts other people when your organization takes a stance on these sort of policies. And then finally, productivity and performance. So 85% of HR executives and 81% of business leaders say that individuals with records perform equally or better than those without. And this is from SHRM, which is an interesting statistic. Studies actually show that oftentimes, since the person with a conviction is more apt to work hard, right? Because again, they're grateful for this position, it actually helps elevate the rest of your employees. And I had this firsthand experience years ago. I placed an individual actually with a healthcare provider, and she was just so excited for this opportunity. She was going above and beyond working. And I had the employer call me and they asked, they're like, do you have 10 more of her? Like, we actually, everyone around her is now realizing like they're kind of slacking off, or they've been on their phones or whatnot, right? And they're seeing her kind of outshine them as a new employee. And so everyone else is kind of elevating their game at that point, if you will. So again, it really does have ripple effects within your place of employment. So real quick, I was going to show you a little video here, or a clip from SHRM on some of their fair chance policies or programs that they currently have. Hope you guys can hear this. If you can't hear it, raise your hand or something. Can't hear it? Hold on here. Let me unshare and then reshare, make sure the sound's on it. Share sound. Try this again.
Criminal records find.
Good? Okay.
SHRM Foundation's Getting Talent Back to Work initiative helps ex-offenders with criminal records find jobs. Talented and eager to work, this untapped pool of workers can bring great value to employers and communities when given the opportunity to thrive and succeed in the workplace. But too often, they are denied the opportunity they need to put their skills to work due to deeply rooted biases and harmful misperceptions.
With my background, I weren't sure who would hire me, and I had heard a lot of stories from other people about interviews and being turned away as soon as a conviction question was asked.
You're ashamed, you know, you have that guilt of what you've done. You don't want people to know. You don't want people to look at you like that.
While I had, you know, a criminal past, it wasn't something that could hold me down. It wasn't something that would keep me down. At the Center for Community Transitions, they gave me the ammunition to know that it was going to happen for me.
The Center for Community Transition is a Charlotte-based nonprofit providing reentry services to individuals that have justice involvement. as businesses are thinking about untapped talent pools and getting talent back to work, our partnership with the SHRM Foundation really amplifying the Getting Talent Back to Work initiative in Charlotte just adds to providing reentry services to individuals that have justice involvement.
I think having that community partner gives a level of comfort because they are used to working with these individuals. They know them personally often. And so having that referral from a community agency such as CCT is extremely important.
85% of HR and 81% of other business leaders report that individuals with criminal records perform the same as or better than employees without criminal records.
For them, they have a goal to overcome what's become a barrier for them to living in the community and working in the community. So I find them to be very dependable.
When it comes to becoming a second chance employer, just do it. There's really not a change in the kind of person you're getting. You're just getting more opportunities to see more people.
I know that people like me deserve a second chance, and also there's people in the streets that haven't been in prison or anywhere else that need a second chance at coming to a good company and being successful.
Do everything you can to educate yourself, know that you're not alone, and then get to it. You know, what are you waiting for?
The SHRM Foundation's Getting Talent Back to Work toolkit is the perfect document and the perfect process to begin to have those questions. HR professionals have tangible outlines helping them answer the question, what do we want to accomplish here?
The fact that SHRM is getting this Getting Talent Back to Work initiative going speaks volumes. SHRM is the gold standard for HR certification. And so it just makes perfect sense that individuals are able to use those resources.
The work that's happening at the national level through SHRM just means that we can grow inclusively, we can grow equitably, and I'm just really excited that we're participating in it.
It's an untapped labor market. So if you're looking for people who are looking for work and willing to work, you should look no further.
They've given me the courage to tell my story and not be ashamed of who I am. They've created a new life for me.
Join the SHRM Foundation and the Getting Talent Back to Work initiative in building better opportunities for people with criminal records. For more information, please visit the website at gettingtalentbacktowork.org.
So with that, I will plug the SHRM Foundation because they do have a lot of great information there. So if you guys aren't familiar with that resource, definitely check it out. In context of today, kind of explaining how it's set up. So ODR, the Office of Diversion and Reentry, so Patty, who introduced herself, would kind of serve as the SHRM Foundation in this context. And so the ODR, they're the ones that will have resources for you guys as far as information on fair chance hiring. They have access to the community partners. So as you guys heard in here, the community partner connection with SHRM was so important. So that way they could refer candidates through this partnership. So as you guys heard from Bree and Chrysalis, that's kind of how they would be part of this partnership as well. So Bree and her team and the other sector partners, they work with candidates. They make sure that they're trained, they're ready, they have the right documentation. They have case management, all these other supportive services. And once they go through those programs, then they work with ODR and then with your, HR teams to help get them into employment. So again, just kind of teeing up a little bit about kind of how these programs work. So with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Jack from St. John Rise Reentry Program. He's going to tell you guys a little bit more about their program over at St. John's and kind of how it came to be and how it's working. So Jack, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, appreciate it, Megan. First of all, thank you everybody who has spoken. Everything I've heard is very interesting. Let me tell you a little bit about St. John's and what we do here. So St. John's is a federally qualified health clinic that's situated in South Central Los Angeles and Compton. Under the roof of St. John's, there are numerous departments that serve the community, including medical, dental, behavioral health, optometry, and several others to speak of. The Reentry Integrated Services and Engagement Program, acronym is RISE, consists of 5 justice-impacted people. We have a housing navigator, who is myself, a program assistant, who is Sarah, whom you met earlier, and we have a mental health provider. A total of 8 of us are in the community program, and we serve the incarcerated populations exiting prison, county jails, or those impacted by the justice system through family members. In 2017, the Office of Diversion and Reentry awarded St. John's a grant to assist justice impacted people with support services, which included many social determinants of health. The grant has ran its course and is ending, but the CEO, Jim Manji at St. John's, has recognized the RISE program serves a vital role to the community, and we have obtained a couple other grants in order to continue to work in the RISE. There are many reasons associated with hesitance for hiring. St. John's unfortunately does not exercise any of those. They hire justice impacted individuals into their services because they understand the statistics that we just heard, the impact, the contributions that we serve. They also found that by limiting their hiring practices based on the characters of which of those that they question serves to diminish their workforce. So they're open to hear anybody wishing to work at St. John's. And like many clinics, many hospitals, they are experiencing difficulties in the medical sectors because of a lot of employees not wanting to return back to work. Fortunately for St. John's, it has recognized the importance of the RISE program and how we serve to free up the time of those serving in the medical fields here at St. John's. Instead of involving themselves in any other activity other than seeing a client or a patient for the specific need that the client and patient is here at St. John's to see them, RISE department, if that individual is impacted by the justice system, addresses that client's other needs. They need to see a psych, they need to see a dentist, they need to get a job, they want to go back to school. Any and all other needs that are needed aside from the medical aspect of it is referred to the RISE program, and the RISE program adjusts that client's needs. That's one of the ways we're taking off the burden of the medical personnel here at St. John's. And of course, with all the lost revenue that many of the hospitals and clinics are going to be experiencing as a result of the trim down of the COVID and the federal support that all the clinics have been receiving, the purses are tight. So, I mean, if Kaiser is complaining about not being able to give out $50,000 bonuses to employees and still get them, then you know that the situation is dire in the communities, especially to community-based organizations such as St. John's and federally qualified health clinics. But we understand that to limit the characteristics of formerly incarcerated individuals when considering employment would inequitably disadvantage the individual and ultimately deprive the employees of varied life experiences, which are more closely related to the communities in which we're serving overall. The community that we serve are those communities that we have lived in. Our employees here in the RISE program are all justice impacted. So we have a lived experience in which we work from. As I indicated, I spent 40 years in prison. And when a client comes in to sit down and seek care, they can identify with how to re-enter into the community, what is needed in order to re-enter the community, what services best would provide, we could provide to them based on what they need. There are many issues that we can look at, but I guess the most basic of them would be how to continue to move forward in serving the community through the RISE program here at St. John's. If there's anything in particular you need to know, please get at me. I've been working in the reentry department for 5 years. And as I said, I have a lot of years of experience in reentering the community and being excluded from the community and the populations that need the assistance in order to start to feel accepted within those communities that they were excluded from. I provide some of that direction, as does my team here in St. John's and the RISE program. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thanks, Jack. And then we'll go into our next speaker, and then we'll see if there's any questions for either one after that. So our next speaker, oops, if I can click over, is Henry Bratton, who's a program manager with DHS at LA County Office of Diversion and Reentry. So Henry, if you want to share a little bit about your role over there and your story.
Oh, certainly. Hi, everyone. Again, Henry Bratton. I'm a program manager at the Office of Diversion and Reentry. I oversee 8 community-based organizations. One of my colleagues oversees St. Joseph's, but I don't. Let me just give you a little history about this. Prior to being a program manager for ODR, I was on the ground floor with whole person care when it first started. And word of mouth got out around the Amity Foundation about me. And I went for an interview, and I was the first person they hired for whole person care. I have 3.5 decades of lived experience, a former life-term prisoner, and I worked there for 2.5 years. Being hired because I have lived experience, because the program was one of the prerequisites, was it was okay. But I was kind of skilled prior to that. I'm a certified alcohol drug counselor. I ran bridge housing for the VA. So it was humbling to get a job as one of the reasons to being a justice impacted person. So in saying that, I subsequently became a program manager with ODR, overseeing the same agencies that I once worked with. So that was kind of uniquely different. And I can say ODR now is really trying to get more diverse with justice impacted prisoners, excuse me, justice impacted individuals. And we are currently probably seeking justice impacted individuals like as we speak. This is we really look for that. I mean, we're not going to overlook great qualified individuals, but we do know, as I do know, that a justice impacted individual and an immigrant as well can be some of the most reliable and trustworthy people that you can have. We've been through it. We understand what we not necessarily had taken from us, but what we giving up our freedoms, what that really does mean. So I really like what Joseph said about what the St. John's, Jack said about how St. John's work with a lot of justice involved, as well as the gentleman from Via Care, who I have spoken to frequently. The agencies are full of justice impacted. Ironically, I had just got a call. That's why I went kind of dark with my picture, from an agency that was asking me about getting an ex-life-term prisoner recent release from prison, and they want to put him through an apprenticeship program in their agency. Well, that kind of made me feel real good, and I'm going to talk to my team and supervisors about that, and seeing how we can get more people hired from an apprenticeship standpoint if they don't have the skills that could put them right at par when they get hired. So that's that's something that I really think can really go off, because in apprenticeship programs, they already exist. They just don't exist for ex-felons in terms of helping them become totally employed with that particular skill set. So I'll defer this to somebody else until someone asks me a question.
Okay, thank you, Henry.
Uh-huh.
Does anyone have any questions for Henry or Jack about their programs or experiences? Give it a minute. And if
Henry,
not,
Henry, what does your work as a program manager involve?
I make sure that the contract that the agency has to follow, that the things that they have to go through their contract and their work orders, to make sure that they're doing it correctly.
So you're overseeing compliance, and what is one of the major take homes for you that gives you why you like to do this work, or why you come to work every day?
Well, we all know we come to work for one thing,
Right.
for the first
Well,
thing.
But
No, I get it. No, why I come to work, because I believe that ODR, the reentry team, RICMS, we're making a difference. If 13 years ago, when I was paroled, reentry programs were almost non-existent. And over the years, as I've seen reentry programs grow, I've seen individuals get more chances, more opportunities to reenter society in a real positive way, where they can show their self-worth and continue on with the rest of their life.
Thank you, Henry, for answering this, because I knew that about you already.
Yeah.
But I wanted everybody else to know.
I know.
And he has a lovely dog named Queenie.
Oh, yes, I do.
gotta love the pets. And since we actually have another minute too, Julio, I was gonna tap on you if you're still on to kind of talk a little about your program, since you talked about it a little bit in the introduction part. And so I wanted to see if you could share us maybe how your program got started, or kind of what the maybe what are some fears or like myths that people had prior to it getting started, or how it came about.
Everyone, I'm gonna be talking on Martin's computer. I'm over here. I'm still listening.
Oh, there you are.
But I wanted to say hi to everyone so they can see my face as well. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, hearing everybody, I didn't know the background, so I didn't know Henry. I worked with Henry before, so I didn't know his background as well. But you know, when I came into this agency, it was about 8 years ago. I came to VIA, which we are a federally qualified health center. I didn't come in. I didn't know about these programs. I didn't know anything about Justice Involved or anything. I have my experience in my professional career, working in law firms, working in different professional settings. But I'm also Justice Involved. And when I first started, I remember my first interview with my CEO, and I told her, I can do everything you want, except I have all this background. I have all this history of my record, my long history, and my professionalism has always been in par with pretty much my other colleagues, and trying to be that way. When we started these programs, which was about like 3 years ago, and I got promoted, I wasn't sure if I got promoted because of my work ethic or because I was just as involved. And that was one of the things that kind of set me in the right path, or set me in the path that I'm currently on. And looking at it from that perspective, I think that it, in my experience, I think most of my staff knows that I was just involved. And I think it helps because, I'm shaking his head over here, but I think helps show that you can grow even as you have whatever life experience that you have. I just never let it be a factor in my growth. I never had a thought in my mind that I can only do day jobs or just things that are not in this field, where it requires some type of professionalism, some type of education, and so on and so forth. And so having that, I make myself very relatable with my staff and trying to show development and growth. And being patient is really key. Understanding that they're not, the concepts of boundaries are not there. The concepts of understanding a healthcare system, which is so complicated in comparison to everything else. There's traditional health and care, but then there's also the healthcare system, understanding things like diabetes, hypertension, Hep C, HIV, etc., which I'm not expecting everybody to understand. So I think coming in the first year, I would say into the program, I didn't know as much, so I it was 2019. It was very new to the program, and then COVID happened. COVID happened as soon as we started, and we also had health homes at the same time. So we had a whole person health homes at the same time. 2 new programs to the agency, 2 new programs to my experiences. But as we grew, I started seeing trends. I started seeing certain things that we needed. We needed a stronger foundation. I would say Marlon and another staff that we hired have that professionalism that we were looking for, not just the reentry piece. The ability to be relatable, I think that was part of it, but also like I think showing stability, having a foundation. And you just have one employee that has just involved as I mentioned, but also knowing that they can handle the professionalism and growth. I know there's some that don't have it yet, but I know that they're in a stable program because there is that other person, Marlon and the other that we have. And I look for those qualities, I look for those kind of things to think, just set the pattern for everybody else. I think that was the key part of our growth, is also showing, like, I remember having this conversation with my staff, and they're telling me of how other positions and other agencies and other jobs have really affected them because of their backgrounds and their histories, and etc. And I think right now is the time to turn it into a positive. I think the state needs us. I think the county needs us. Everybody needs more, employees or employers that have that experience, to make it relatable, to make it happen. I don't think it's going to happen if we just pick and choose one person. I think you have to choose. You have to strategically plan it out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for sharing. Some great information, lots to digest. So what we're gonna do next, if I can change this thing here. We were gonna go into breakout groups. So we're just gonna break everybody in half. And we're just gonna kind of have some discussion about thoughts around today. So here's some of the prompts, which I will break it out. So Patty and Bree are in the other groups. That way you guys don't have to remember all the questions. But essentially, we're probably gonna take about like maybe 5 to 8 minutes or so. And just talk about maybe what is your experience hiring second chance individuals, if any, and if not, why or why not, do you think that is? What are your thoughts on employers that have second chance hiring policies? Are you excited, concerned, other feelings, thoughts? Do you think your company would be open to implement a program like St. John's or even like Via Care that just talked about, why or why not? What do you think some of the benefits are? And again, you guys don't have to answer all these questions. These are just some prompts to kind of talk about in your groups. How does fair chance hiring fit with your company's DEI policies? What are some concerns you may have implementing a program like this? And then finally, who would need to be involved in this conversation? So if I have to stop share here. And let me do the groups. Figure that part out here today. Computer is not cooperating with me. Not a problem earlier. Now it's not working. Hold on here. There we go. Bear with me here. I gotta assign everybody now.
I'm in the.
All right. I hope I did this right.
So are we broken up into groups now? Is this one group? Hey, Henry.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I'm not doing bad. I'm trying to beat the heat. Even though it's come down, it's still hot.
Yeah, I know. Now, I'm sure that we're not in the group, just
Here
us.
we are. They can't, no?
Uh-oh.
Are we? We are. Just
Well,
me and you.
no.
Yeah,
Let me,
it's two of the same.
yeah. Now let me chat her. Oh my God. Okay, come on.
Yep,
Chat.
it's just me and you. All I see is two participants.
Yeah, Megan, I'm gonna write to Megan right now. Megan.
It's only like 14 of us. It should only be like 3 groups. Hello.
I'm chatting her right now. Oh, darn. What's going on here? This is not very good. This is not good. Okay, this is not very good. Okay. Megan. Well. Uh, me and
Don't trip. I
Henry.
gotta go. I gotta go.
Okay. Oh, then I'm all alone in a breakout room. The two of us only. Okay, let me get this. Okay. This is like not okay. Hi. So are I in a group? Are we still doing the breakouts? I didn't get into a group.
You didn't get into a group?
No, I got into a group. It's Henry and just us two. So I logged out and some chats. Yeah.
Well, we only have about a minute left. I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, they have like about a minute left. I'll let them do that and then they can come back in. Sorry, I saw you like waiting in the thing. I'm like, oh, maybe they're done. So we went ahead and like hopped out of ours. So, well, we only have less than a minute left anyways. So hopefully Brianna's holding down the fort then. She's in the other one. Sorry, but I had a feeling I did mess that up somehow. Well, I'm glad it was you that got left out, not somebody else. So,
well, I think I'm supposed to say thank you for that.
Only because you know the
question.
conversation. So you're good.
For Patricia,
Yes.
what direction is ODR going in these days?
Well, we are following the trends that are occurring in policy, and the trends seem to have reached a tipping point where fair chance was talked about for so long. Really, in 2018 is when it started to change, and the effect from 2018 is now being felt really like when you drop a rock in a water, the ripples are finally reaching the shore, and I see overwhelmingly positive changes happening in the whole reentry sphere. People are coming home, they're getting so many more chances and so much more support in the employment arena. And now it's just working with the employers to try and break down those barriers. We want to meet your needs with qualified participants, with the proper training that you would like us to have. That's why we want to create the partnerships. I want to know what you need, because I want to provide you with the people that are going to do what you want them to do. Of course, maybe some of them will need some extra training. Maybe some of them won't. Maybe some of them need some professional training. But that's something I want to work out. How is that package going to be delivered? And how does the package have to look? And what does the package contain? Now, I try and get most of the things in the package, but we can't always get everything. But the one thing we will do is make sure that we fulfill at least 9 out of 10 of your requirements. And so that takes us talking, and I need to hear from you what you need. And then we need to reach back and figure out, okay, this person can fulfill that employment opportunity. What kind of training do we need to put them through so that they are a really strong candidate once they walk in the door? Because, people in prison didn't have internet, didn't have phone. Maybe they did, but it wasn't real. There's the digital divide is real, especially in this, in the populations groups that we serve. So we want to minimize those barriers, fill them in with the proper trainings, and then scoot them on over to you. And we want to vet them and we want to watch how they work. I used to work for an organization called CEO, and I was a job developer there for 3 years. And I was #1 in the nation and in California in placements. But you can be #1 and do really bad placements where, within 5 days it counts as a placement. I didn't do that. I looked for long-term solutions. We're not looking for short-term solutions. We're looking for long-term solutions. So the relationship that we all build doesn't have to be, okay, no, let's hit the ground. We need your, feedback. We need this. No, it's more like, okay, so we want to work at a pace that's comfortable for you, because we're here to help you and we're here to help our clients. We're also free, so you don't pay anything for our staffing services. And I will say that, as has been said, at least 1/3 of the population has had some interaction with the criminal justice system in the United States, and a larger degree has had some criminal justice experience within a family in the United States.
Patty?
Yes.
I'm so sorry to cut you off. We only have a
That's
couple
okay.
minutes left. So, I don't want to cut you off, but we
No
just gotta
problem.
finish out.
I thought we were just waiting.
No, you're good. Everyone's back. So on that, as far as next steps, because again, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So kind of what we're doing next, Patty actually just alluded to a lot of it. So one thing that we're going to be doing, we're going to be setting up like one-on-one coaching sessions with everybody, just as a follow-up to this meeting, which will consist of myself, with Patty, and with Brianna from Chrysalis. And so we can just hear a little bit more about kind of, you know, what are your thoughts or concerns after hearing this? We have some follow-up questions as well for my team, and then hopefully for you guys to start developing that relationship with Patty and Brianna. So as Patty just shared, right, so how can they be that resource for you guys for jobs, and then also to you know, really train candidates and follow up and that sort of stuff. Part of this is to maintain ongoing relationships. So also for the employers to be keeping sector aware of like hiring needs, communicating what skills are needed. So if you guys are seeing shifts in the industry, like, hey, we have candidates who are coming in as MAs, but maybe they're not learning how to take, I don't know, manual vitals anymore. I don't know, I'm just making things up, right? But this is then information you can feed back to sector. So then that way they're making sure that their clients are well prepared for these jobs. So it does work both ways. Hopefully creating a priority pipeline. So once they do have trained individuals, this is a place you can turn to and say, hey, we have an opening, you know, and hopefully they can help send you some candidates and get some people in there. Again, possibly creating apprenticeships, fellowships, paid internships. I know Henry had touched on like apprenticeship stuff. So seeing what sort of other opportunities we may be able to create. So maybe those are internships within this field, and then potential advisory committees. So informing training or job preparation, or even just among employers for employers to discuss, right, about their hiring needs and challenges and that sort of stuff. So all sorts of potential opportunity. So while we have you guys right now, we do have some times available for our one-on-one coaching. So these are times that we already did figure out. So these are in 30 to 45-minute slots. So I was going to see if everybody could take a look at their calendars right now while we have you, and if not, we'll follow up with you just to let us know a potential slot that'll work with you, and then we can follow up with you guys and send out that invite. So again, just 30 to 45 minutes sometime in the next few weeks, so that way we can sit down and talk with you guys about those hiring needs, kind of about any questions that you guys may have. And again, to start developing that relationship with Patty, with her team, and then also with Brianna and with her team and other sector partners.
I think in this part of the phase, it's going to be ODR. And then in the next phase, it'll be the providers. So yes, and we're very open. We just want to communicate. So let's just start off like you would a relationship. Like, you know, what are you worried about? What do you think can backlash at you? So let me speak to you. I too am also system impacted, and I can tell you the other part of the journey on both sides, on the working side from the system impacted viewpoint, and you know, the concerns, the valid concerns that you may have, and then there's many other issues like such licensing and all that kind of stuff, but we can work through them together. And I have a lot of knowledge in the legalities of it. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give legal advice, but we can formulate some sort of cooperative, you know, maybe with 1 or 2 people starting at an entry-level position as a clerk, something like that, or as a lab technician, or whatever we could do. So I'm hoping that you will take us up on this offer and meet with me, or I believe Jessica, for these available sites, for these available times, and then we could just like dig deeper into what your needs are, how we could fulfill them with the type of staff that you require.
Thanks,
how we can
Patty.
ensure that.
I know we have about like literally a minute left, and I just want to be respectful of everyone's time. So Christina, thank you for sending that. We will follow up with you and Valerie, also on your team, to set that up for the 21st. Who else is still on? Danielle, if you have a time with your team, if you could let us know. And then obviously Julio and Marlon, if you guys have one. And then Jack will follow up with you and Sarah and stuff as well. So if you guys have a time that works. And then real quick, since I know we're suddenly at time, I know Brianna has to go. We were just gonna do a final thought. So what is kind of like your 1-word takeaway from today? And again, it could be 2 words or whatnot, but if you guys just had like a kind of a 1-word, what's your takeaway from today?
Productive.
Productive? Good.
Relatability.
What was that?
Relatability.
Relatability, love it.
Helpful.
Hopeful, love it.
Hopeful.
Hopeful, okay, love it. I'm excited to continue this conversation with everybody. I don't know who's still on and who has to pop off, but just want to thank you guys. Inspiring, love it. My contact information is on here as well. So if you guys do have any follow-up questions or anything, let me know. And then, like I said, we will be reaching out to set up those follow-up one-on-one coaching sessions, and look forward to connecting with you guys as team even more. And so for those that are still on, if anyone else, again, I want to be respectful of time, but if you are still on and had any questions, by all means, floor is open. Myself and Patty are still here. I know Brianna had to leave. But otherwise, we thank you guys for coming and participating, and we look forward to continuing this conversation with you.
Yes, thank you so much once again for taking the time out of your day to participate in this actually very important study that Megan has been doing for a year, and you are the outcome of that. And so grateful that you will do this. I think it's meaningful. DEI, as Megan mentioned, all these facets. And I look forward to meeting with you all. So I hope you sign up for some of those slots for the one-on-ones.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you,
Have a
everyone.
good rest of your day.